Welcome back. It's 8 after 12 o'clock. Our next guest is Mishkah Teladia. She is the founder of Suhbah Sisterhood. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But I think she's more than that. She was highly recommended for this interview. My dear friend Rehanna couldn't stop talking about Mishkah. So here she is talking about, she's going to be talking, of course, about the Suhbah Sisterhood. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program. Okay, would you like to sit closer to the mic, please?
Will
Okay.
do.
We're going to focus on Suhbah Sisterhood, but I'm sure you are much, much more than that. Who is Mishkah Teladia? What does her real life look like?
Okay, so I've been in Joburg now for 16 years. Time flies. I'm actually from Cape Town, born and raised. I am a mom of 3 beautiful kids.
MashaAllah.
Jazakallah. They are incredibly busy, and it's a learning curve, learning to be a mom to 3 very different kids. And I live here in Joburg with my husband and them. So I'm a working mom and trying to figure out how to balance all of those roles.
You're a working mum. What line of work are you in, and how does that tie in with the Suhbah Sisterhood? And you are going to tell us exactly how it came about and what it's all about. So what line of work are you in?
I am an economist by training. So I studied economics and I worked for many years, about 15 years. I worked in international development, focusing primarily on Africa's many, many challenges and also our opportunities. And in that line of work, I think what I realized was that there are so many different ways to think about development, so many different ways to think about how we might all contribute to a better world, a more equal world, a more just world. And I found that working in international development, oftentimes we're concerned with the global perspective, what's happening in the geopolitics of everything and how conflicts are affecting our position in the world and how secure we feel. And that can be daunting. That can be incredibly overwhelming. And at the individual level, at the community level, it was hard for me, at least as a practitioner, to think about how change happens for individuals. And the link back to Suhbah Sisterhood is that I started to play with the ideas of the narratives that are part of our tradition as Muslims, our very rich kind of storytelling, I think, heritage, and that change processes when we think about it at the global scale, and we don't locate it into the moments in our lives, the stories that we have in our lives, we can feel just overwhelmed rather than feeling empowered and, as important parts of how change happens. And so that's where it comes from.
Okay, so you need to pronounce that again. You said it so beautifully. I mispronounced it just now.
Yeah.
And also tell us, what does it mean?
I will. Okay. So Suhbah, I mean, the word that we use most often is the Sahaba, so the companions of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all Arabic words. What I love about the Arabic language is that they all essentially derive from 3 letters, Sahaba in this instance, and the rooting of Sahaba essentially means the type of companionship that is fortifying. It gives you strength, it builds your resilience. So the idea is for Suhbah Sisterhood, it's a sisterhood, a movement of Muslim women who work together, who kind of enable the resilience of each other. And in that community, we find more power and more wisdom to affect the changes that we want to see in the world.
Okay, we do know that many women within our communities, and of course there is not only in South Africa, but globally, this ongoing migration. So people are on the move a lot of the times. And I guess a lot of people live very far away from friends, family, very especially. And they're having to create connections with other people. And I'm wondering if this is why the sisterhood was perhaps formed, to give women a space, to make women feel connected, and possibly also help them, I don't know, overcome challenges that they might have. So am I far off the mark here?
Very close to the mark.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So fill in the gaps for us.
I had this idea for Suhbah Sisterhood some years ago. And last year I had the space to then figure out if my assumptions, what I'm seeing, resonates with other people's reality. My experience as a Muslim woman is not everyone's experience as a Muslim woman. So I interviewed women. I interviewed 42 women and, globally diverse group of women. I thought they would be mostly located in South Africa, but that wasn't the case. So there's a number of women in different West African countries and then across MENA, into the UK and Europe, and Southeast Asia and Indonesia specifically. And the interviews revealed exactly as you're saying. One of the most prevalent responses I received from women was that they feel isolated. That is whether or not actually they're in a Muslim community. So Muslim women who are, rooted in family structures and communities that are predominantly Muslim, they still feel isolated because there's this feeling of being too Muslim for some spaces and not Muslim enough for others, which, even as I say it now, I still get chills thinking about it because
Absolutely.
Whether or not, that feeling of being judged comes from external, so outside the Muslim community, or internal, other Muslim women, other Muslim men,
You're still up against
it. You're feeling isolated because you're other than what is the norm around you.
You just don't fit in for some reason or the other. Okay.
Yeah,
let's go for an ad break. When we come back, I just find this so fascinating. We're going to talk more about the Suhbah Sisterhood, inshallah. Please stay with us. We're also going to ask Mishkah, who is it that could join this sisterhood? Is there criteria involved? And what happens when I do join the sisterhood? So all of that and more right after the ad break. Stay with us.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
You South African, of course. You anxious about the future. We've got you covered. Build on your wealth portfolio with Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Visit us at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave, Durban, or call us on 031-202-4700 for more information. Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
Africa. Give the gift of clean water with Africa Muslims Agency. With every water well or borehole you donate, your drop becomes a river, reconnecting communities to nourishment, education, dignity and empowerment. Sponsor a water well for 17,000 Rand in Africa or a borehole for 65,000 Rand in Afghanistan or Africa. Quench the thirst. Reconnect the soul with Africa Muslims Agency.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Barakah Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Barakah's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Barakah makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albarakah.co.za to learn more. Al Barakah, your partner bank. Al Barakah Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
It's a new beginning, It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
It's 18 after 12 o'clock, and what I love about this job of mine is the amazing people that I get to meet, that I get to talk to, and how it grows me as a person and opens up my mind. Subhanallah. And I have the amazing Mishkah Teladia, founder of Suhbah Sisterhood, talking about a space where hopefully, if you join up, you can be yourself. So just to give more context, people listening to us still not grasping what we're talking about and what the sisterhood is all about. It's not a fundraiser. It's not a support group for GBV victims. It's not a place for whatever other reason, other motives you have to join a particular circle. What exactly is it? What will I find if I join Suhbah Sisterhood?
Jazakallah for that question. It's a question that sits with me all the time because I'm allowing for a little bit of emergence actually for what will happen to happen with Allah Ta'ala's guidance. And I think remaining open to that is part of my challenge. We have to, kind of stay agile and flexible with it. So overall, my idea is that Suhbah Sisterhood is a movement for Muslim women who are inspired to reimagine what life of work could be if it was more faith-based and if it was more in balance, in mizan. And when I say work, I mean every ways that we're called to work, Muslim women work in so many different ways, in our families, in our businesses, in our professional lives, in the ways that we contribute towards communities and initiatives. All of that is work, and it all kind of counts. Suhbah Sisterhood is set up as a business, and the reason for that is because my hope is that when Muslim women work within this business, they are remunerated fairly, adequately for their efforts. I think we give so much of ourselves, and oftentimes that doesn't come with any ways of really replenishing ourselves, keeping ourselves kind of in the living circumstances that would help us to grow and prosper together. And so the movement itself takes shape, inshallah, driven by the interests and needs of Muslim women. But for now, the offer is to be part of Suhbah circles, primarily on WhatsApp, and any ways I actually want to make it really, finding women where they are rather than inventing a space that would be artificial to how we are. So we have a WhatsApp community because that's where many people engage already. And in-person circles with your dear friend Rihanna at Barefoot Space. And those circles are intended to be about storytelling, which I can explain in more detail in the next quick.
Please do, because in fact, you just preempted my next question because, I'm thinking about you focusing on faith-informed leadership, storytelling, and of course, meaningful connection rather than productivity or performance.
Yeah.
How do you believe these conversations will then, be shaped?
Yeah.
And because I'm sure the women that have joined the sisterhood come from very diverse backgrounds. So how will that connection happen? And what will we be able to share with each other, which would add meaning to each and every one of us, despite the diverse backgrounds we come from?
So I worked for a very long time in women's entrepreneurship and women's leadership development as a kind of coach and also as a sort of economist development practitioner. And we often look externally for the support we need or the guidance we need, where what I found, even in learning, let's say, Western thought on enterprise development or leadership, so much of the principles that matter are stemmed in Islamic thought and are already available to us in our Quran, in our Hadith, in the Seerah. And, the leaders, the Muslim women leaders that we have from the beginning of our prophetic tradition, what wonderful role models already are there, why are we not using more of those stories? So the circles are intended to create a feedback loop or a weaving of the stories of the past, the stories that are in the Hadith, and the experiences we're having in modern work right now, and the stories of our own lives. So if you imagine that weaving between those three pieces, I think there's enough inspiration and guidance already there for us to learn from each other. So it's not about, on the shelf solutions to, I'm struggling with negotiating pay or figuring out how to manage my suppliers in my business, or whatever the piece is that modern women are struggling with right now. It's more about saying, what do we already have that we can look at with fresh eyes and start to reclaim what is our legacy of powerful, wise women, from Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu anha and Aisha radiallahu anha. I mean, these role models are just not given their due place in our work lives. And I struggled with the kind of workplace strain and incidents of burnout in corporate existence that are just, forgetting what we know about being faith-based and really living with tawakkul. So yeah, inshallah, that is my idea, that we'll connect about these stories, and we'll connect in fun ways, sort of not putting a serious face on everything that has to do with Islam. It's serious, but it's also about embracing who we are as humans, that we enjoy just, what we say in Cape Town, caring and gesels. So that's good enough.
Okay, I love that. I love that concept. And also, of course, if, you say currently you are a WhatsApp-based group for now, but long-term, are you thinking of having regular meetups? Because I think that connection is so important.
Yeah.
So these meetups, and what do you hope will come out of those meetups?
Absolutely. So I really want as many as possible of our gatherings in the future, whether in person or online, to be inspired by what women are most interested to bring. So an example is my good friend Aisha Marzuki was part of Suhbah Sisterhood. She developed this amazing Jariyah field guide, which takes the principles of Sadaqah Jariyah and applies them to what we're hoping to work with and for in our lives right now, that leaves a legacy, an intergenerational legacy. So we're hoping to have Jariyah circles that are about understanding for ourselves and in connection with others, what is sufficient and what do I have to give? What do I have to extend the benefits of sadaqah into the future? And inshallah, that will inspire initiatives we can all do together. So that's one kind of class of it, is the education or faith-based or environmental initiatives people care about, women care about. And then on the other hand, it's really restoration and rest. That's a big part of it. Too often we are just depleted by everything that's asked of us. And so some of the gatherings I really hope to be fun and relaxing and just enjoyable. The one planned for Saturday, for example, is really just about, we're in winter, how do we find comfort? How do we find ease? How do we find tranquility with each other? Because I think that when you inviting people to do serious work together, the best thing to do is to say, come and have a party and let's kind of get to know each other and build connections in a way that feels more natural.
You mentioned Aisha Marzuki. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend her workshop at the Barefoot Space, and I'm really sorry I missed out on that. And what comes to mind as you were speaking about her and your vision is how we are caught up in this age of consumerism, of being overtaken by advertising.
Yeah.
And if we don't subscribe to all of that, then we're not trending, we're not with the in crowd, we don't belong, we're marginalized, there's something wrong with us. How come we're not aligned with that type of thinking? Would I be on track by sharing those thoughts with you regarding the sisterhood?
I'm so happy you mentioned that, because often when I speak, because I'm an economist, I speak about these economic concepts of like sufficiency, right? And I think women who aren't economists, which is the majority of women, I'd imagine, they're wondering like, what role do I have in the economy? And actually, consumption is our biggest role. Like what we buy,
overconsumption
on a daily basis, the type of products we're buying, the type of food we're buying that doesn't nourish us, actually makes us less healthy. all of those pieces are such important, discussion topics, I think, for Suhbah Sisterhood. Is there a way that we can live more in balance with nature, with our bodies, that would make us more well and more whole? Inshallah, I'm hoping for more on those topics. There's a number of Suhbah sisters who are in the medical profession and are really thinking about women's health and how we can eat ourselves into better health and nourish our souls at the same time. So one of the big ideas I have is for us to have a big kind of cooking together.
Oh, wow.
Women, we used to be in the kitchen together talking and solving problems and doing all kinds of things while being busy cooking for the community or cooking for big events. And we've lost that practice. But in that practice is so much wisdom. And inshallah, that's the kind of way together, I think, that I hope we will be able to do in the future.
Inshallah, for people watching us this morning, rather it's afternoon already, and would like to become a part of the sisterhood, is there a specific criteria? Are there any joining fees? What is the requirement to join the sisterhood?
So the suhbahsisterhood.org website has all the details. There's a tab that says join the sisterhood, and I've made a sort of a subscription type model for doing so. There's no criteria to join. Inshallah, I really hope that the main message that people receive today is Suhbah Sisterhood is for all Muslim women. It's principally for the diversity of all women that make up our ummah, and that openness, I hope, is felt. And the reason for the tier structure is there are kind of standard costs, that involves taking a movement like this and progressing it and inshallah stewarding it in the best ways possible. But there's the first tier is pay what you can tier. So if 0 is your number, that's the number. It's valid. It doesn't need to be explained. The reason for a sisterhood is that we lean in to support those who have lower affordability. And in that way, inshallah, the door's open to everyone. The middle tier is, covering standard costs of anything. And then the pay what you want tier, the sort of third tier, is really for women who can provide more, who have the availability to provide more. And that might not be monetary, it might be more presence, guiding me, inshallah, like working alongside to really roll up our sleeves and do what we can for this movement. I see my role, as much as it says founder, as more a steward or a champion, and I want to hold the space with other women. So this is a big invitation to come with what you have available rather than meeting some criteria.
Inshallah. We're going to wrap up in literally a minute, but is there similar organization or similar organizations anywhere else in the world? And would you know, if you are aware of it, would you know about their successes?
I've been trying to do research on that very question, and I'm very open to people sharing with me the details of organizations I don't know about. And I found Muslim women's organizations who focus in either on, let's say, scholarship or learning and education, or events on the other hand. So sort of events where women can gather, but not necessarily with a communal flavor to it, more of a sort of a social aspect to it, which is, all of those are very welcome and valid. I think the more options we have as women, the better. I haven't seen any really as well that are Muslim women and men in the same organizations, or Muslim men. But I'm at the early stages of research, and I'm really open to learning more.
Final thoughts this morning, and many congratulations on walking this path. May you grow from strength to strength. But your closing remarks.
It's just to say this is an invitation to be in touch and to share ideas that you may have, what you're sitting with, what needs you may have. Whether you're a Muslim woman or man listening in, I think what I'm on is a journey to understand what could be. And so the more ideas and opportunities for collaboration, for participation, I just welcome it and say Jazakallah for the opportunity to share today.
There you have it, a very dynamic Mishkah Teladia, founder of the Suhbah Sisterhood. And we do hope and pray that she's inspired you enough to visit the website, see for yourself, read up, and inshallah become a part of the sisterhood. So with much love, Khuda Hafiz to you, Mishka. And we wrap up on this interview at 12:33.